Imagine being publicly humiliated on your first day of work by New York's most feared CEO. Emily Brooks, a simple girl from Kansas, faced exactly that when Charlotte Reed decided to destroy her in front of the entire company. But Charlotte didn't expect Emily to have a quiet strength that would change everything between them. Before we start, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and let me know in the comments what state you're watching from. The elevator rose to the 57th floor. Complete silence. Emily took a deep breath, adjusted her simple blouse, and prepared to meet the most powerful woman in corporate America. The elevator doors opened with a soft ding. Emily stepped into the marble lobby of Reed Industries, her heart hammered against her ribs. Glass walls stretched endlessly, designer suits moved like sharks through crystal-clear corridors. She clutched her worn leather portfolio. "You must be the new intern," said a woman with perfectly styled blonde hair. "I'm Jessica, Charlotte's assistant. She's waiting." Emily's palms were sweating. "Is she nice?" Jessica's smile froze. "Nice isn't a word we use around here." They walked through corridors lined with awards, Forbes covers, Business Week features, all showcasing the same woman, Charlotte Reed. Piercing green eyes, sharp jawline, the kind of beauty that could cut glass. "She built this empire from nothing," Jessica whispered. "Started with a food truck. Now she owns half of Manhattan." Emily nodded, trying to calm her nerves. They stopped at massive oak doors. Jessica knocked twice. "Enter." The voice was cold, commanding. It sent shivers down Emily's spine. The office was enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Central Park. A woman sat behind a desk the size of Emily's entire apartment back in Kansas, Charlotte Reed. She was even more intimidating in person. Raven black hair pulled into a perfect bun. A charcoal suit that probably cost more than Emily's college tuition. Those green eyes that seemed to see straight through souls. Charlotte didn't look up from her laptop. "So you're the charity case from Kansas," she said, fingers still typing. "Tell me, Miss Brooks, what makes you think you belong here?" Emily's throat went dry. I graduated summa cum laude from—" "I didn't ask about your grades." Charlotte finally looked up. Her gaze was like ice. "I asked what makes you think you belong in my company." The room felt smaller suddenly. Emily could hear her own heartbeat. "I work hard," Emily said quietly. "I don't give up." Charlotte laughed. It wasn't a pleasant sound. "Work hard?" She stood up, walking around the desk. "Do you know what hard work is, Miss Brooks? Hard work is building a billion-dollar company while everyone tells you you'll fail because you're a woman. Hard work is making decisions that destroy people's lives because it's good for business." She stopped directly in front of Emily, close enough that Emily could smell her expensive perfume. "You think your little farm girl work ethic impresses me?" Emily's cheeks burned, but she didn't look away. "I think you're trying to scare me," Emily said, her voice steadier than she felt. Charlotte's eyebrows shot up. Nobody talked back to Charlotte Reed. "Excuse me? You heard me?" Emily's hands trembled, but her voice didn't. "You want me to run away crying so you can feel powerful, but I'm not going anywhere." The silence stretched like a taut wire. Charlotte's eyes narrowed. "We'll see about that." She pressed a button on her desk. "Jessica, bring everyone to conference room A now." Within minutes, the glass conference room filled with employees. Executives in $1,000 suits, managers with nervous expressions. Junior staff whispering among themselves. Emily stood at the front like she was facing a firing squad. Charlotte walked to the head of the table. "Everyone, meet our new intern, Emily Brooks, fresh from the cornfields of Kansas." Scattered chuckles rippled through the room. "Miss Brooks here thinks she can handle working at Reed Industries," Charlotte continued, her voice dripping with disdain. "She believes her rural work ethic will serve her well in Manhattan." Emily's face burned with humiliation, but she kept her chin up. "So I thought we'd give her a little test," Charlotte said, sliding a thick folder across the table. "The Morrison account, our most difficult client. He's threatening to pull a $50 million contract unless we solve his logistics nightmare." Emily picked up the folder with steady hands. "You have until 5 p.m. today to present a solution," Charlotte announced. In front of everyone. Gasps echoed around the room. Even the senior executives looked shocked. "Charlotte," said a gray-haired man, "that account has stumped our best analysts for months." "Then maybe fresh eyes will help," Charlotte replied, never taking her gaze off Emily. Unless Miss Brooks would prefer to pack up and head back to Kansas. Emily looked around the room. 40 pairs of eyes stared at her, some pitying, some curious, most expecting her to crumble. She thought about her mother, working double shifts at the diner, her father, losing the farm to medical bills, the scholarship that brought her here. "I'll have your solution by 5, Emily said clearly. Charlotte's smile was predatory. "Wonderful. Don't disappoint me, Miss Brooks, though I suspect you will." The room emptied quickly. Employees scattered like leaves in the wind, whispering among themselves. Emily stood alone with the impossible folder. Jessica approached hesitantly. "Emily, I'm sorry. This is extreme even for her." "Where can I work?" Emily asked. "There's a small office on the 45th floor. But Emily, seriously, nobody expects you to." "I need a computer and a phone," Emily interrupted. "And coffee. Lots of coffee." Jessica stared at her. "You're really going to try?" Emily tucked the folder under her arm. "I didn't come this far to quit on day 1. As she walked toward the elevator, Emily caught Charlotte watching her through the glass walls. Those green eyes were unreadable. Emily thought to herself, "You want to break me? Good luck." "I've been broken before, and I'm still standing." The elevator doors closed. Emily pressed 45 and started reading the Morrison file. She had 6 hours to prove that the girl from Kansas belonged in Charlotte Reed's world. But what Emily didn't know was that Charlotte was already regretting her cruelty. Something about the intern's quiet strength had shaken her more than she cared to admit. Charlotte returned to her office and tried to focus on quarterly reports. But her mind kept drifting to brown eyes that refused to look away. "What the hell is wrong with me?" she muttered. Outside her window, Manhattan glittered like a promise, but for the first time in years, Charlotte Reed felt uncertain about something. And that something was a farm girl from Kansas who didn't know when to quit. Emily's fingers flew across the keyboard. The small office on the 45th floor smelled like stale coffee and broken dreams. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. But Emily barely noticed. She'd been reading the Morrison file for 3 hours straight. Morrison Industries, a shipping giant with warehouses across the East Coast. Their problems seemed impossible. How to reduce delivery times by 40% while cutting costs by 20%. 3 teams of senior analysts had failed. Emily rubbed her tired eyes. "Think, Emily. What are they missing?" She pulled up shipping routes on her computer. Red lines crisscrossed the screen like a spider web. Each line represented millions of dollars in logistics. Her phone buzzed. A text from her mom. "How's the big city, sweetheart? Make us proud." Emily smiled sadly. If only her mother knew she was about to be fired on her first day. A knock interrupted her thoughts. "Come in." Jessica peeked through the door. "I brought sandwiches. And more coffee." "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." Jessica set down a tray. What Charlotte did was wrong. Everyone's talking about it. Emily took a grateful sip of coffee. "What are they saying?" "That she's lost her mind. Even for Charlotte, this was brutal." Jessica sat down. "She's not usually this personal." "Personal?" "She destroys people professionally. Clean, efficient. But today felt different, like she was trying to hurt you specifically." Emily stared at the shipping routes. "Maybe I remind her of someone she doesn't like." "Or someone she does like," Jessica said quietly. Emily looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" Jessica shrugged. "Charlotte doesn't usually pay this much attention to interns. Most of them are invisible to her." Before Emily could respond, Jessica's phone rang. "It's her," Jessica whispered, then answered. "Yes, Ms. Reed?" Emily could hear Charlotte's voice through the phone. Cold, commanding. "How is our little farm girl doing?" Charlotte asked. Jessica glanced at Emily. "She's working hard." "I'm sure she is. Bring me hourly updates." The line went dead. "She's checking on me?" Emily asked. "Every hour since you started." Jessica looked puzzled. "In 10 years, I've never seen her micromanage like this." After Jessica left, Emily returned to the Morrison problem. But her mind kept wandering to Charlotte's green eyes. Why did the CEO care so much about destroying one intern? Emily shook her head. Focus. She had 2 hours left. She pulled up a map of Morrison's warehouse locations. Something nagged at her, a pattern she couldn't quite see. Then it hit her. "Oh my God," she whispered. Emily's fingers flew across the keyboard. She pulled up traffic data, weather patterns, historical shipping delays. The answer was so simple, everyone had missed it. Morrison's warehouses were positioned perfectly for the old shipping routes. But new highway construction had changed everything. What used to be the fastest routes were now bottlenecks. But there was a solution. Emily grabbed her phone and called Morrison Industries directly. Mr. Morrison's office, answered a crisp voice. This is Emily Brooks from Reed Industries. I need to speak with Mr. Morrison about his shipping concerns. Mr. Morrison doesn't take calls from... Tell him I have a solution that will save him $15 million annually. A pause. Hold, please. 2 minutes later, a gruff voice came on the line. This is Morrison. You've got 30 seconds. Emily took a deep breath. Sir, your shipping delays aren't caused by route efficiency. They're caused by new construction choke points that your current system can't adapt to. But if you implement dynamic routing software that adjusts in real time to traffic conditions, you can reduce delivery times by 45% while cutting fuel costs by 30%. Silence. Go on, Morrison said. Emily explained her solution: dynamic routing, flexible warehouse assignments, real-time traffic integration. How much? Morrison asked. Initial software investment of $2 million, but you'll save $15 million annually. And Reed Industries gets what out of this? A happy client and a 10-year contract extension. Morrison laughed. Kid, I've been waiting 6 months for someone to figure this out. You did it in 1 day? Yes, sir. What's your name again? Emily Brooks. Well, Emily Brooks, you just saved my company. I'll call Charlotte Reed personally. The line went dead. Emily stared at her phone. She'd done it. Actually solved the impossible problem. Her hands shook as she prepared her presentation slides. At 4:45 p.m., Jessica appeared. Ready? Emily nodded, gathering her materials. They walked to conference room A, the same room where she'd been humiliated 5 hours earlier. Employees filled every seat. Word had spread. Everyone wanted to see if the farm girl could deliver. Charlotte sat at the head of the table. She'd changed into a different suit, navy blue this time. Her hair was slightly mussed, like she'd been running her fingers through it. Their eyes met across the room. Emily felt something electric pass between them. Something that had nothing to do with business. Miss Brooks, Charlotte said coolly, I trust you have something to show us? Emily connected her laptop to the projector. I do. She began her presentation, explained the problem, outlined her solution, showed the cost savings. The room was dead silent. When she finished, Charlotte leaned back in her chair. Interesting theory, Miss Brooks, but theories don't impress clients. Emily's phone rang. She glanced at the screen. That's Mr. Morrison. Charlotte's eyebrows shot up. Answer it, on speaker. Emily pressed the speaker button. Hello, Mr. Morrison. Emily, I just got off the phone with my logistics team. Your solution is brilliant. We're implementing it immediately. Morrison's voice filled the room. And Charlotte, if you don't promote this girl, I'll hire her myself. The line went dead. Stunned silence filled the conference room. Charlotte stared at Emily. Something shifted in those green eyes. Surprise, respect, and something else Emily couldn't identify. Well, Charlotte said slowly, it seems our intern has exceeded expectations. Scattered applause broke out. Employees whispered excitedly. Charlotte stood. Meeting dismissed. As people filed out, Charlotte approached Emily. Impressive work, Miss Brooks. Thank you. They stood close, too close. Emily could smell Charlotte's perfume again. Don't let it go to your head, Charlotte said quietly. This was one problem. I have hundreds more. Emily met her gaze steadily. Bring them on. Charlotte's lips curved into something that might have been a smile. Careful what you wish for. She turned and walked away, leaving Emily alone in the conference room. Emily thought to herself, what just happened? And why do I feel like I just passed some kind of test I didn't know I was taking? Meanwhile, Charlotte returned to her office and closed the door. She leaned against it, her heart racing. Damn it, she whispered. For the first time in years, someone had surprised her, challenged her, impressed her. And Emily Brooks was absolutely the last person she should be thinking about. But Charlotte couldn't stop replaying the moment their eyes met across the conference room. The way Emily had stood her ground, the quiet confidence in her voice. Charlotte walked to her window and stared out at the city lights. This is dangerous, she told herself. Very dangerous. But she was already looking forward to tomorrow. Emily arrived at the office at 6 a.m. The 57th floor was empty, ghostly quiet. She liked it this way. No whispers, no stares. Just her and the work. Word about the Morrison account had spread through the building like wildfire. Some employees looked at her with new respect. Others with suspicion. The farm girl who'd impressed Charlotte Reed. Emily settled into her new desk. After yesterday's success, she'd been moved to the 52nd floor. Still not the executive level, but closer. She was reviewing quarterly reports when the elevator dinged. Charlotte Reed stepped out. Emily's breath caught. Charlotte wore a black suit today. Her hair was down, falling in waves past her shoulders. She looked softer somehow. More human. Their eyes met across the empty floor. Charlotte hesitated for a moment, then walked over. "You're here early," Charlotte said. "I like the quiet," Emily replied. Charlotte nodded. "So do I." She stood beside Emily's desk, close enough that Emily could see the tiny flecks of gold in her green eyes. "The Morrison solution was clever," Charlotte said. "Where did you learn about dynamic routing?" "My dad was a truck driver before he got sick. He always complained about traffic systems that couldn't adapt." Something flickered across Charlotte's face. "Your father is ill?" Emily looked down. "Cancer. That's why I needed this job." Charlotte was quiet for a long moment. "I'm sorry." The sincerity in her voice surprised Emily. "Thank you. How is he doing?" "Fighting. Like always." Emily managed a small smile. "He taught me that giving up isn't an option." Charlotte studied her face. "Is that why you didn't quit yesterday?" "Partly." Emily met her gaze. "But mostly because I don't like bullies." Charlotte's eyebrows shot up. "Bullies? You tried to humiliate me in front of everyone. That's bullying." "I was testing you." "By being cruel?" Charlotte's jaw tightened. "This is a cruel business, Miss Brooks. If you can't handle—" "I can handle the business," Emily interrupted. "I can't handle unnecessary cruelty." They stared at each other. The air between them crackled with tension. "You have no idea what you're talking about," Charlotte said coldly. "Don't I?" Emily stood up, bringing them face to face. "You built walls so high that nobody can reach you. You hurt people before they can hurt you. But that's not strength, Ms. Reed. That's fear." Charlotte's face went white. "How dare you—" "I dare, because someone needs to tell you the truth." The elevator dinged again. Jessica stepped out, then froze when she saw them. "I'm sorry. I didn't realize—" "It's fine," Charlotte said sharply. "Miss Brooks and I were just finishing our conversation." She turned and walked toward her office, heels clicking against marble. Emily sank back into her chair, hands shaking. Jessica approached cautiously. "What just happened? I think I just committed career suicide." "What did you say to her?" Emily rubbed her temples. "The truth." For the rest of the morning, Emily threw herself into work. She analyzed market reports, reviewed client proposals, anything to distract herself from replaying the confrontation. At noon, Jessica appeared with lunch. "You need to eat," Jessica said, setting down a salad. "I'm not hungry." "Emily, about this morning—" "I know, I crossed a line." Jessica sat down. "Actually, I think you might be the first person to tell Charlotte the truth in years." Emily looked up. "What do you mean?" "Everyone's terrified of her. They tell her what she wants to hear, but you—" Jessica shook her head. "You called her out, and now she'll fire me. Maybe. Or maybe she'll respect you for it." Emily picked at her salad. "I can't afford to lose this job, Jessica. My family needs the money." "I know. But Emily, I've worked for Charlotte for 10 years. I've never seen her look at someone the way she looked at you this morning. She looked angry. She looked affected. Like you got under her skin." Before Emily could respond, her computer chimed. A new email. From Charlotte Reed. Subject, Morrison follow-up. Emily's heart pounded as she opened it. "Miss Brooks, Mr. Morrison has requested that you personally oversee the implementation of your solution. This will require working directly with his team for the next 2 weeks. Consider this your first major assignment. Don't disappoint me." See Reed. Emily stared at the screen. She's not firing me. What? Jessica leaned over to Reed. Oh my God. Emily, this is huge. Morrison is one of our biggest clients. Why would she trust me with this? Because you solved an impossible problem. And because... Jessica paused. Because I think Charlotte Reed is more interested in you than she wants to admit. That afternoon, Emily prepared for her first client meeting. She'd never worked directly with a major client before. At 3 p.m., she knocked on Charlotte's office door. Enter. Charlotte was on the phone, speaking in rapid French. She gestured for Emily to sit. Emily tried not to stare, but Charlotte speaking French was mesmerizing. Her voice was softer, more musical. Charlotte ended the call and looked at Emily. Ready for Morrison? I think so. You think so? Charlotte's voice was sharp again. Thinking isn't good enough, Miss Brooks. Morrison Industries generates $50 million in annual revenue for this company. If you screw this up, I won't screw it up. Charlotte studied her face. How can you be so confident? Because I understand their problem, and I have a solution that works. And if you're wrong... Emily met her gaze steadily. Then I'll fix it. Something shifted in Charlotte's expression. You really don't back down, do you? Would you respect me if I did? Charlotte was quiet for a long moment. No, I wouldn't. They stared at each other across the desk. The same electric tension from that morning returned. The Morrison meeting is at 4, Charlotte said finally. Conference room B. Emily stood to leave. Miss Brooks? Emily turned back. Don't make me regret this. I won't. As Emily reached the door, Charlotte spoke again. And Emily? Emily's heart skipped at the use of her first name. This morning, what you said about fear, Charlotte's voice was quieter now. You might not be entirely wrong. Emily turned around, but Charlotte was already looking at her computer screen. I'll see you at the Morrison meeting, Charlotte said without looking up. Emily left the office, her mind spinning. In the hallway, she thought to herself, what is happening between us? And why does it feel like we're dancing around something neither of us wants to admit? Meanwhile, Charlotte sat alone in her office, staring at the door Emily had just walked through. For 20 years, she'd built her reputation on being untouchable, unshakable, the ice queen of Manhattan. But one farm girl from Kansas was melting her defenses faster than she could rebuild them. Charlotte picked up her phone to call her therapist, then put it down. Some things were too dangerous to say out loud, even to herself. The Morrison meeting went perfectly. Emily presented her implementation timeline with confidence. Mr. Morrison asked tough questions. She answered every one. Charlotte watched from the corner of the conference room, arms crossed, expression unreadable. When Morrison shook Emily's hand and said, "You're going to go far, kid," Emily felt a surge of pride, but it was Charlotte's small nod of approval that made her heart race. After Morrison left, Charlotte approached Emily. "Well done," she said simply. "Thank you." They stood alone in the conference room. The late afternoon sun streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting golden light across Charlotte's face. "You surprised me again?" Charlotte said. "Good surprised or bad surprised?" Charlotte's lips curved slightly. "I'm still deciding." Emily gathered her materials. "I should get back to work. Emily." Emily turned. Charlotte had used her first name again. "Have dinner with me tonight to discuss the Morrison project." Emily's pulse quickened. "Dinner?" "Business dinner," Charlotte clarified quickly. "Nothing more." But the way she said it suggested she was trying to convince herself as much as Emily. "Okay," Emily said. "Where?" Le Bernardin. 8 o'clock. Emily's eyes widened. Le Bernardin was one of the most expensive restaurants in Manhattan. I don't have anything appropriate to wear to a place like that." Charlotte looked her up and down. "What size are you?" "I'm sorry?" "Dress size." 6. Why?" Charlotte pulled out her phone. "Jessica, I need you to go to Bergdorf's. Size 6 dress. Something elegant but not too formal. Charge it to my personal account." Emily's cheeks burned. "Ms. Reed, I can't let you..." Charlotte held up a hand. "It's a business expense. You're representing my company." She ended the call and looked at Emily. "Jessica will bring the dress to your apartment. What's your address?" Emily reluctantly gave her address. Charlotte typed it into her phone. "I'll pick you up at 7:30, Charlotte said. "You don't need to. I insist." Charlotte walked toward the door, then paused. "Emily?" "Yes?" "Don't overthink this. It's just dinner." But as Charlotte left, Emily noticed her hands were trembling slightly. Emily spent the rest of the afternoon trying to focus on work, but her mind kept drifting to dinner, to Charlotte's green eyes, to the way her voice softened when she said Emily's name. At 6 p.m., Jessica appeared with a garment bag. "From Charlotte," Jessica said, grinning. "She has excellent taste." Emily unzipped the bag and gasped. The dress was stunning. Black silk with subtle beading, elegant but not ostentatious. It probably cost more than Emily made in a month. "I can't wear this," Emily whispered. "You can and you will," Jessica said firmly. "Emily, do you know how long I've worked for Charlotte? 10 years. In 10 years, I have never seen her buy clothes for anyone, not even her ex-girlfriend." Emily's head snapped up. "Ex-girlfriend?" Jessica nodded. "Charlotte doesn't date men. Thought you should know." Emily's heart hammered. "Why are you telling me this? Because I think you two are dancing around something, and I think it's time someone cut in." At 7:30 sharp, Emily's doorbell rang. She opened the door to find Charlotte in a charcoal gray suit, hair swept up in an elegant chignon. Charlotte's eyes widened when she saw Emily in the dress. "You look—" Charlotte paused. "Beautiful." Emily's cheeks flushed. "Thank you. So do you." They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other. "Ready?" Charlotte asked. Emily nodded. Charlotte's driver held the door of a black Mercedes. Emily slid into leather seats that probably cost more than her car. "Nervous?" Charlotte asked as they pulled into traffic. "A little." "Don't be. It's just dinner." But Charlotte's own hands were clasped tightly in her lap. Le Bernardin was everything Emily expected. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, waiters who moved like dancers. The maitre d' greeted Charlotte by name and led them to a corner table with views of the city. "Wine?" Charlotte asked, studying the menu. "I don't really drink. Neither do I, usually, but tonight feels like an exception." Charlotte ordered a bottle of champagne. When it arrived, she raised her glass. "To solving impossible problems," she said. "To taking chances," Emily replied. Their glasses clinked. Emily took a sip and felt bubbles dance on her tongue. "Tell me about Kansas," Charlotte said. "Not much to tell. Small town. Everyone knows everyone. My dad farmed corn until he got sick." "Do you miss it?" Emily considered. "I miss the simplicity, but not the limitations." "What kind of limitations?" Emily met her gaze. "The kind that come from people thinking they know who you are based on where you're from." Charlotte nodded slowly. "I understand that. Do you?" "I grew up in Queens. My mother cleaned offices. My father left when I was 8. Charlotte's voice was quiet. People looked at me and saw trash, someone who didn't belong. Emily studied Charlotte's face. "Is that why you're so hard on people? Because you had to fight for everything?" Charlotte was quiet for a long moment. "Maybe." Their food arrived. They ate in comfortable silence, stealing glances at each other. "Can I ask you something?" Emily said. "Depends what it is. Why did you really humiliate me yesterday?" Charlotte set down her fork. "Because I wanted you to quit." "Why?" Charlotte looked out the window at the glittering city. "Because I could tell you were different. And different is dangerous." "Dangerous how?" Charlotte turned back to Emily. "Because different makes me want things I can't have." The air between them grew thick with tension. "What kind of things?" Emily asked softly. Charlotte's green eyes were intense. "Things that could destroy everything I've built." Emily leaned forward. "Maybe some things are worth the risk." Charlotte's breath caught. "Emily." "Yes?" "We should go." Charlotte signaled for the check. Her hands shook slightly as she signed the receipt. In the car, they sat in silence. The city lights blurred past the windows. "I'll walk you up," Charlotte said when they reached Emily's building. "You don't have to." "I want to." They rode the elevator to Emily's floor in silence. At her door, Emily turned to face Charlotte. "Thank you for dinner." "And the dress." "Keep it," Charlotte said. It looks better on you than it would on anyone else." They stood close. Too close. Emily could see the flecks of gold in Charlotte's eyes. "Charlotte," Emily whispered. "Yes?" "I'm not afraid of you." Charlotte's composure cracked. "You should be." "Why?" "Because I'm falling for you, and I don't know how to stop." The confession hung between them like a live wire. Emily reached up and touched Charlotte's face. "Then don't stop." Charlotte closed her eyes and leaned into the touch. "This is insane." "Maybe, but it's also real." Charlotte opened her eyes. "Emily, if we do this, there's no going back. My world is complicated, dangerous. I'm not asking for guarantees. I'm asking for a chance." Charlotte stared at her for a long moment. Then she stepped back. "I need time to think." Emily nodded, trying to hide her disappointment. "I understand." Charlotte turned and walked toward the elevator. At the last second, she looked back. "Emily?" "Yes, you're right. Some things are worth the risk." The elevator doors closed, leaving Emily alone in the hallway. She leaned against her door, heart pounding. Inside her apartment, Emily thought, "What just happened? And why do I feel like my life just changed forever?" Meanwhile, Charlotte sat in the back of her car, staring at her phone. She wanted to call Emily, to go back upstairs, to forget about consequences and just feel something real for once. Instead, she told her driver to take her home. But as Manhattan blurred past her window, Charlotte knew she was already lost. The farm girl from Kansas had gotten under her skin, and Charlotte Reed was terrified of what that meant. Emily couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of dinner with Charlotte. The way Charlotte's voice had cracked when she said she was falling for her, the vulnerability in those green eyes. At 3 a.m., her phone rang. "Emily?" Her mother's voice was shaky. Emily sat up instantly. "Mom? What's wrong?" "It's your dad. He's in the hospital. The cancer. It's spread." Emily's world tilted. "How bad?" "Bad, honey. You need to come home." Emily was on the first flight to Kansas 6 hours later. Wichita General Hospital smelled like disinfectant and despair. Emily found her mother in the waiting room, looking older than her 55 years. "Mom." Emily hugged her tightly. "He's been asking for you," her mother whispered. "The doctors say it might be weeks." Emily's throat closed. "Can I see him?" Her father looked small in the hospital bed. Tubes and wires connected him to machines that beeped steadily, but his eyes lit up when he saw her. "There's my girl," he said, voice weak but warm. Emily took his hand. "Hi, Daddy." "How's the big city treating you?" Emily forced a smile. "Good. Really good." So Emily told him about Reed Industries, about solving the Morrison problem, about Charlotte. She didn't mention falling for her boss. "Sounds like this Charlotte woman sees your potential," her father said. "Maybe." Her father squeezed her hand. "Emily, I need to tell you something." "What?" "I'm proud of you. So proud. You got out. You made something of yourself." Tears burned Emily's eyes. "Dad, let me finish." His voice was getting weaker. "I know why you took that job. For the medical bills. For us." Emily's tears spilled over. "I wanted to help. You have helped. More than you know. But Emily, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Don't sacrifice your happiness for us. Don't let guilt keep you from living your life." Emily squeezed his hand. "I promise." Her father smiled. "Good. Now tell me more about this Charlotte. You get a funny look when you talk about her." Emily spent 3 days in Kansas. 3 days of hospital visits and difficult conversations with doctors. 3 days of watching her father fade. On the second day, her phone buzzed with a text from Charlotte. "How is your father?" Emily stared at the message. She'd told Jessica about the emergency, but she hadn't expected Charlotte to reach out. She typed back, "Not good. Thank you for asking." Charlotte's response came immediately. "Take all the time you need. Your job will be here when you get back." Emily felt a warmth spread through her chest. Charlotte could have fired her for leaving without notice. Instead, she was being supportive. Another text arrived. "If you need anything, call me. I mean it." Emily showed the messages to her mother. "She cares about you," her mother said. "It's complicated." The best things usually are. On the third day, Emily's father took a turn for the worse. The doctors said it was time to say goodbye. Emily held his hand as he slipped away peacefully in his sleep. At the funeral, half the town showed up. Her father had been loved by everyone who knew him. Emily stood beside the grave, wearing the black dress Charlotte had bought her, and felt utterly alone. After the service, Emily's mother pulled her aside. "I found something in your father's desk," she said, handing Emily an envelope. Emily's name was written on it in her father's handwriting. Inside was a letter and a check for $50,000. "Emily," the letter read, "this is the money from selling the farm equipment. I wanted you to have it. Not for bills or obligations, but for you. Use it to build the life you want. Follow your heart, even if it scares you. Especially if it scares you. Love, Dad." Emily stared at the check through tears. $50,000. Enough to pay off her student loans. Enough to give her choices. "He sold everything?" Emily asked. Her mother nodded. "He wanted you to be free." That night, Emily sat on her childhood bed, staring at her phone. She wanted to call Charlotte, to hear her voice, to feel connected to something real. Instead, she called Jessica. "Emily, how are you holding up?" "I'm okay. How are things there?" "Crazy busy. Charlotte's been impossible since you left, snapping at everyone, working 18-hour days." Emily's heart clenched. "Is she okay?" "I think she misses you, though she'd never admit it." "Jessica, can I ask you something?" "Of course. What happened with Charlotte's ex-girlfriend?" Jessica was quiet for a moment. Her name was Victoria. They dated for 2 years. Victoria was ambitious. She used Charlotte's connections to advance her own career, then left her for a senator. Emily winced. "That's awful. It destroyed Charlotte. She's been closed off ever since, until you." "What do you mean?" "Emily, I've never seen Charlotte care about someone the way she cares about you. She's terrified, but she cares." After hanging up, Emily walked to her bedroom window. The Kansas sky stretched endlessly, dotted with stars you couldn't see in Manhattan. She thought about her father's letter, about following her heart, about Charlotte. Emily made a decision. She booked a flight back to New York for the next morning. But first, she had one more stop to make. Emily drove to the cemetery where her father was buried. The headstone was simple. Robert Brooks. "Loving husband and father. Hi, Daddy," she said, kneeling beside the grave. "I'm going back to New York tomorrow. I'm going to tell Charlotte how I feel about her. It's scary, but you always said the best things in life require courage." The wind rustled through the wheat fields beyond the cemetery. "I love you," Emily whispered, "and I promise I'll follow my heart." The next morning, Emily hugged her mother goodbye at the airport. "Are you sure you're ready to go back?" her mother asked. "I'm sure. But Mom, I want you to come visit me in New York. Soon." Her mother smiled. "I'd like that." On the plane, Emily stared out at the clouds and thought about what she would say to Charlotte. She'd spent 3 days watching her father die. 3 days thinking about what mattered, about what was worth fighting for. Charlotte was worth fighting for. Emily landed at JFK at 6 p.m. Instead of going home, she went straight to Reed Industries. The building was mostly empty. Only a few lights glowed on the upper floors. Emily rode the elevator to the 57th floor. Charlotte's office light was on. Emily knocked on the door. "Come in." Charlotte looked up from her computer. Her face went through a series of emotions: surprise, relief, something that looked like joy. "Emily, you're back." "I'm back." Charlotte stood up. "How are you? How was the funeral?" "Hard, but necessary." They stood looking at each other across the office. "Charlotte, I need to tell you something." "What?" Emily took a deep breath. "My father died believing that life is too short to waste on fear. He told me to follow my heart, even if it scares me." Charlotte's expression grew wary. "Emily, I'm in love with you," Emily said simply. "I know it's complicated. I know it could ruin everything, but I needed you to know." Charlotte stared at her. "Emily, you don't understand what you're saying." "Yes, I do. I'm saying I love you, and I think you love me too." Charlotte's composure cracked. "Even if that were true, we can't." "Why not?" "Because I'm your boss. Because you're 25 and I'm 38. Because my world will eat you alive." Emily stepped closer. "Those are excuses. Not reasons. They're not excuses. They're reality. Emily reached for Charlotte's hands. Then let's create a new reality. Charlotte looked down at their joined hands. Emily, I've been hurt before, badly. I don't know if I can risk that again. I'm not asking you to risk everything. I'm asking you to risk something for us. Charlotte looked up, and Emily saw tears in her green eyes. What if I hurt you? What if you don't? Charlotte was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled Emily closer. I've been miserable since you left. Charlotte whispered. So have I. I don't know how to do this, how to be vulnerable. Emily cupped Charlotte's face. We'll figure it out together. Charlotte closed her eyes and leaned into Emily's touch. This is insane, Charlotte murmured. The best things usually are. Charlotte opened her eyes and smiled. Really smiled. For the first time since Emily had known her. Your father sounds like he was a wise man. He was. He would have liked you. How can you be sure? Emily smiled. Because he taught me to see the good in people, even when they try to hide it. Charlotte's walls finally crumbled completely. I love you too, she whispered. And in that moment, Emily knew her father had been right. The best things in life did require courage. Charlotte's confession hung in the air between them. I love you too. Emily's heart soared, but before she could respond, Charlotte stepped back. But we can't do this here, Charlotte said, glancing toward the glass walls. Too many eyes, too many cameras. Emily nodded. Then where? Charlotte grabbed her purse and jacket. My apartment. We need to talk properly. They rode the elevator down in charged silence. Emily could feel the tension radiating from Charlotte's body. In the parking garage, Charlotte led her to a sleek black Porsche. You drive yourself? Emily asked. Sometimes I need to feel in control of something, Charlotte replied, starting the engine. They drove through Manhattan in silence. Emily stole glances at Charlotte's profile, the sharp jawline, the way her hands gripped the steering wheel. Charlotte's apartment was in a glass tower overlooking Central Park. The penthouse, of course. Emily stepped inside and gasped. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city. Modern art hung on white walls. Everything was pristine. Beautiful. Cold. It's stunning, Emily said. It's empty, Charlotte replied quietly. Emily turned to look at her. What do you mean? Charlotte walked to the windows, staring out at the city lights. I bought this place 5 years ago. Spent a fortune decorating it, but it's never felt like home. Emily joined her at the window. Why not? Because I've never shared it with anyone who mattered. They stood side by side, looking out at Manhattan. Charlotte, Emily said softly. What are you afraid of? Charlotte was quiet for a long moment. Everything. Losing control. Getting hurt. Hurting you. Emily turned to face her. What if we start small? What if we just see what happens? Charlotte looked at her. You make it sound simple. Maybe it is. Charlotte laughed, but there was no humor in it. Emily, you don't understand. My last relationship ended with Victoria selling stories about me to the tabloids. Ice Queen's secret romance. It was humiliating. Emily's jaw tightened. I'm not Victoria. I know. But the media won't care. They'll destroy you just for being with me. Emily stepped closer. Let them try. Charlotte's eyes widened. You don't mean that. Yes, I do. Charlotte, I've lost my father. I've watched my family struggle. I've been humiliated and underestimated my entire life, but I'm still here. I'm still fighting. Emily reached for Charlotte's hands. You think I'm fragile because I'm from Kansas, but I'm stronger than you know. Charlotte stared at their joined hands. Emily, if we do this, there's no going back. Once the board finds out, once the media gets involved, then we'll handle it together. Charlotte looked up. Together? Together. Something shifted in Charlotte's expression. The fear was still there, but it was mixed with something else now. Hope. I don't know how to be in a relationship, Charlotte said quietly. I work 18-hour days. I travel constantly. I'm not easy to love. Emily smiled. Good thing I like a challenge. Charlotte's lips curved slightly. You're impossible. So are you. We're perfect for each other. Charlotte laughed, and this time it was real. God, you're arrogant. I learned from the best. They stood looking at each other. The tension between them was electric. Emily, Charlotte said softly. Yes? I want to kiss you. But if you do, what? I won't be able to stop. Emily stepped closer. Then don't stop. Charlotte's control finally snapped. She pulled Emily against her and kissed her desperately. Emily melted into the kiss. Charlotte's lips were soft but demanding. Her hands tangled in Emily's hair. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Wow, Emily whispered. Charlotte rested her forehead against Emily's. We're really doing this. Are you having second thoughts? Charlotte pulled back to look at her. Terrifying thoughts, but not second thoughts. Emily smiled. Good. Charlotte's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and frowned. What is it? Emily asked. Text from Jessica. There are photographers outside the building. Emily's stomach dropped. Photographers? Charlotte's face went pale. Someone must have seen us leave together. She walked to her laptop and pulled up a gossip website. There, in grainy photos, were images of Charlotte and Emily leaving the office building together. The headline read, Ice Queen's new flame, CEO Charlotte Reed spotted with mystery woman. Emily stared at the screen. That was fast. Charlotte was pacing now. This is exactly what I was afraid of. By tomorrow, they'll have your name, your background. Everything. Emily felt a chill. What does that mean? It means your life is about to become very complicated. Emily's phone rang. She looked at the screen. It's my mom, she answered. Hi, Mom. Emily, honey, there are reporters at my house. They're asking about you and some woman named Charlotte Reed. Emily's heart sank. Mom, I'm so sorry. I'll handle this. Who is Charlotte Reed, sweetheart? Emily looked at Charlotte, who was listening to every word. She's someone important to me, Mom. I'll explain everything later. Just don't talk to the reporters, okay? Okay, honey. But Emily, are you in some kind of trouble? No, Mom. I'm not in trouble. I promise. Emily hung up and looked at Charlotte. They found my mother. Charlotte's face was stricken. Emily, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. No, it's not. Yes, it is. I should have known this would happen. I should have protected you. Emily walked over to Charlotte. Hey, look at me. Charlotte met her eyes. This isn't your fault, Emily said firmly. And I'm not running away. Emily, you don't understand what you're signing up for. They'll dig into everything. Your family's finances, your father's illness. They'll twist it all to make a story. Emily felt anger rising. Let them try. I have nothing to hide. It's not about having something to hide. It's about having your privacy destroyed. Emily cupped Charlotte's face. Charlotte, listen to me. I knew this could happen. Maybe not this fast, but I knew. And I'm still here. Charlotte searched her eyes. Why? Because you're worth it. Because what we have is worth it. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve you. That's not your choice to make. It's mine. Charlotte kissed her again, softer this time. I love you, she whispered against Emily's lips. I love you too. Charlotte's phone rang. She glanced at it and sighed. It's my publicist. I have to take this. She answered. Marcus, I know. I've seen the photos. Emily could hear a man's voice on the other end, speaking rapidly. No, I'm not issuing a denial, Charlotte said firmly. And no, I'm not hiding. More rapid talking. Marcus, set up a meeting for tomorrow morning. We're going to handle this properly. She hung up and looked at Emily. My publicist wants me to deny everything. Issue a statement saying you're just an employee. Emily felt a stab of hurt. And what do you want to do? Charlotte walked over to her. I want to tell the truth. Which is? Charlotte smiled. That I'm in love with an amazing woman who makes me want to be better than I am. Emily's heart swelled. Really? Really? But Emily, once we go public, there's no taking it back. Are you sure you're ready for this? Emily thought about her father's letter. About following her heart. I'm sure. Charlotte nodded. Then tomorrow, we tell the world. Emily kissed her. Together? Together. As they held each other, looking out at the glittering city, Emily thought about how much her life had changed in just a few weeks. She'd come to New York as a scared farm girl with nothing to lose. Now she was in love with the most powerful woman in Manhattan, about to face a media storm that could destroy them both. But as Charlotte's arms tightened around her, Emily knew she'd made the right choice. Love was always a risk, but some risks were worth taking. Emily woke up in Charlotte's arms. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows. For a moment, she forgot about the photographers, the headlines, the storm waiting outside. Charlotte was still asleep, her face peaceful in the morning light. Emily studied her features, the sharp cheekbones, the long eyelashes, the way her lips curved slightly, even in sleep. Emily's phone buzzed. 17 missed calls, 43 text messages. Her heart sank as she scrolled through them. Reporters. Classmates from college. People she hadn't spoken to in years, all wanting the story. One text made her stomach cool. Por favor. Continue llorando a su respuesta. Agent Logo Novo Prompt Historia. One text made her stomach clench. It was from her mother. Emily, there are more reporters here. They're offering money for information about you. I haven't said anything, but I'm scared. Charlotte stirred beside her. Good morning, she murmured, then noticed Emily's expression. What's wrong? Emily showed her the phone. It's getting worse. Charlotte sat up, instantly alert. She grabbed her own phone and scrolled through messages. Her face grew darker with each one. The board is calling an emergency meeting, Charlotte said. They want to discuss recent developments affecting the company's reputation. Emily felt sick. They want to fire you. They want to try. Charlotte's voice was steel. But I own 45% of this company. They can't fire me without cause. Isn't dating an employee cause? Charlotte looked at her. Not if I promote you first. Emily's eyes widened. What? I'm making you director of client relations. Effective immediately. It puts you at executive level, makes you my equal, not my subordinate. Emily stared at her. Charlotte, I can't accept a promotion just because we're dating. That's exactly what they'll say, that you're showing favoritism. You earned this promotion the moment you solved the Morrison problem. I'm just making it official. Emily's phone rang. Her mother again. I have to take this, Emily said. Mom? Emily, honey. I'm at the neighbor's house. There are so many reporters at our place I can't even get to my car. Emily's heart broke. Mom, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. No, sweetheart. But I need to ask you something. Are you happy with this Charlotte woman? Emily looked at Charlotte, who was watching her with concerned eyes. Yes, Mom. I'm happy. Really happy. Then that's all that matters. But Emily, these reporters are saying some awful things about her, about how she treats people. Emily felt anger flare. They don't know her, Mom. Not the real her. I trust your judgment, honey, but be careful. Love can make us blind sometimes. After hanging up, Emily turned to Charlotte. We need to do something about my mother. She can't stay trapped in her house. Charlotte was already reaching for her phone. I'll have my security team escort her somewhere safe. A hotel, maybe. On my dime. Charlotte, you don't have to. Yes, I do. This is my world that's hurting your family. An hour later, they were in Charlotte's office. The building was surrounded by reporters and photographers. They'd had to enter through the parking garage to avoid the crowd. Jessica burst in without knocking. Charlotte, the board meeting is in an hour, and there's something else. She handed Charlotte a tablet. On the screen was a news article with the headline, From Farm to Fortune, the Cinderella story behind Charlotte Reed's new romance. Emily read over Charlotte's shoulder. The article detailed her background, her father's death, her family's financial struggles. It painted her as a gold digger who'd seduced her way to the top. This is disgusting, Emily whispered. Charlotte's jaw was tight. They're trying to destroy you to get to me. Ms. Reed? Jessica interrupted. There's more. Victoria gave an interview to the Times. It's not good. Charlotte closed her eyes. What did she say? That you have a pattern of inappropriate relationships with employees, that you use your power to manipulate vulnerable women. Emily felt rage building. That's a lie. I know, Jessica said. But it's out there now. Charlotte stood up and walked to the window. Below, reporters swarmed like ants. Maybe we should end this, Charlotte said quietly, before it destroys both of us. Emily's heart stopped. What? Charlotte turned around. Emily, look what's happening. Your mother is trapped in her house. You're being painted as a gold digger. My company is in crisis. So you want to give up? I want to protect you. Emily stood up and walked over to Charlotte. I don't need protection. I need you to fight for us. Emily. No. Listen to me. Emily's voice was strong. My whole life, people have underestimated me. They've tried to make me small, to make me quit. But I'm still here. She took Charlotte's hands. I didn't fall in love with you because you're rich or powerful. I fell in love with you because underneath all that armor, you're brave and brilliant and kind. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. What if I can't protect you from this? Then we'll face it together. But Charlotte, if you walk away now, you're not protecting me. You're abandoning me. Charlotte stared at her. You're right. I know I am. Charlotte smiled through her tears. God, you're stubborn. I learned from the best. A knock interrupted them. Ms. Reed, the board is ready for you. Charlotte straightened her shoulders. Emily, I want you to come with me. To the board meeting? Yes, as my partner, in business and in life. Emily's heart swelled. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. They walked into the boardroom together. 12 men and women in expensive suits sat around a mahogany table. Their faces were grim. Charlotte, said the chairman, a silver-haired man named Robert Sterling, we need to discuss this situation. What situation is that, Robert? Don't play games. Your relationship with this intern is damaging the company's reputation. Charlotte's voice was ice cold. Emily Brooks is not an intern. As of today, she's our new director of client relations. Murmurs rippled around the table. Charlotte, said another board member, you can't seriously expect us to believe this promotion isn't related to your personal relationship. Emily stepped forward. May I speak? The board members looked surprised. 3 weeks ago, I solved a problem that your senior analysts couldn't crack for 6 months. I saved the Morrison account and generated $50 million in revenue. I earned this promotion. She looked around the table. You can question my qualifications. You can question my motives. But you cannot question my results. Robert Sterling leaned forward. Miss Brooks, while your work has been adequate, the optics of this situation are problematic. The optics? Emily's voice rose. You mean the optics of a successful woman dating another successful woman? We mean the optics of our CEO having an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate. Charlotte stood up. Gentlemen, ladies, let me be very clear. Emily Brooks is the most talented analyst this company has seen in years. She's also the woman I love. If you have a problem with either of those facts, I suggest you find new jobs. The room erupted in angry voices. Charlotte, you're being unreasonable. The shareholders won't stand for this. You're putting your personal life above the company. Charlotte slammed her hand on the table. Enough. The room fell silent. I built this company from nothing, Charlotte said, her voice deadly quiet. I've generated billions in revenue. I've made all of you very wealthy, and I've done it while being scrutinized, criticized, and underestimated every step of the way. She looked around the table. Now you want to punish me for finding happiness? For finding love? Robert Sterling cleared his throat. Charlotte, no one wants to punish you. But we have to consider what? That I'm human? That I deserve the same happiness you all take for granted? Emily watched Charlotte defend their relationship and felt her heart swell with pride. I'll make this simple, Charlotte continued. Emily Brooks stays. Our relationship continues. If you don't like it, you can sell your shares and leave. She turned to Emily. Come on. We have work to do. As they left the boardroom, Emily heard Robert Sterling call out, Charlotte, this isn't over. Charlotte paused at the door. Yes, Robert, it is. In the elevator, Emily looked at Charlotte with amazement. You just risked everything for us, Charlotte smiled. Not everything. Just money and power. You're worth more than both. Emily kissed her. I love you. I love you too. The elevator opened on the 57th floor. Jessica was waiting with a huge smile. The Morrison account just renewed for 10 years, she announced. And 3 other major clients called to congratulate you on your courage and authenticity. Charlotte and Emily looked at each other in amazement. It seems, Jessica continued, that the public likes a good love story more than the board thought. 6 months later, Emily stood in Charlotte's office, now decorated with photos of them together. Her mother had moved to New York and loved the city. The media storm had died down, replaced by admiration for their relationship. Charlotte walked up behind her and wrapped her arms around her waist. "Any regrets?" Charlotte asked. Emily leaned back against her. "Only one." "What's that?" Emily turned in Charlotte's arms. "That it took us so long to find each other." Charlotte kissed her softly. "Well, we have the rest of our lives to make up for lost time." Emily smiled. "Is that a promise?" Charlotte reached into her desk drawer and pulled out a small velvet box. Emily's breath caught. "Emily Brooks," Charlotte said, dropping to one knee. "You changed my life the moment you walked into it. You made me brave. You made me better. Will you marry me?" Emily stared at the ring, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, yes, of course, yes." Charlotte slipped the ring onto Emily's finger and stood up to kiss her. Outside the office windows, Manhattan glittered with possibility. Emily thought about her father's letter, about following her heart, about taking risks for love. She'd risked everything for Charlotte Reed. And she'd won everything in return. As Charlotte held her close, Emily whispered, "Thank you for seeing me, the real me." "Thank you for not giving up on us," Charlotte replied. They stood together, looking out at the city that had brought them together. 2 women who'd found love in the most unlikely place, and they knew their story was just beginning. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more incredible love stories. And let me know in the comments, do you believe in taking risks for love? Your support means everything to